There's a large creature that lives in a cave in the mountains. It leaves tracks, big tracks. It hunts by night. It has a definite taste for blood. And it's your job to go get it. Saddle up, cowboy. The desert is the desert is the desert. And to most people, it all looks the same, but it's all quite different. Now, while I live in the Mojave and work in the Mojave, today's story takes place south of here, in the Sonoran Desert. And although it is off my beaten path, I think this story is worth it. In the Rincon Mountains, just east of Tucson, Arizona, lies a remote cave with a fascinating story attached to it. But to understand why, you would have to travel back to the late 1890s, a time when a mysterious creature of immense power was holding sway over the ranches and farms of the surrounding desert scrubland. Cattlemen and cowboys had been losing stock to the mighty beast, and it was even rumored that more than a few lonely prospectors or line riders had also fallen victim to the creature's nocturnal bloodlust. And it did seem to have a bloodlust, or at least the reports of its nightly depredation seemed to suggest an animal that was more interested in killing than was normal for a meat-eating predator. A rancher in the nearby Catalina Mountains said that one time he had brought his cattle in from the range and penned up about 30 young calves who had followed their mothers in, putting the young animals in a separate corral. During the night, the mysterious creature came down out of the mountains, broke into the corral, and killed every one of the calves, reportedly sucking or licking their blood, but otherwise leaving the little torn bodies in a heap to be found by the shocked rancher in the morning. He discovered large tracks. Tracks found and described by other ranchers and hunters over the years in the surrounding desert and hills as looking like a large cat, but much bigger than anything ever seen before. Tracks over 7 inches wide and showing the deep impression of a heavy body. The idea that the culprit could be a large mountain lion was immediately dismissed by the hunters because of the size and the fact that a mountain lion kills to eat and would have carried off maybe a single calf, not killed 30 at one go, and then left the bodies. Hunters and trackers followed the great beast trail, but always lost it in the mountains or ridges. Sometimes searches being made years apart, but with the same disappointing result. The animal came and went as it pleased, leaving a bloody trail behind it and making the residents of the outlying cattle ranches and farms wonder just what the mysterious beast could possibly be. And as the 1800s gave way to the 1900s, the creature remained free and roaming the desert hills of southwest Arizona by night. A lot of the simpler folk thought this might have been the work of a creature they called El Coco, which is actually a Mexican night apparition that kidnaps people, children, and takes them away and devours them. Now, the ranchers knew different. This thing left tracks. It ate other animals, so it could be hunted down. The question was, who was going to do it? But in 1902, a man was found who said he could do the job. His name was Jesus Garcia, a lion and bear hunter by trade, who along with his young son and favorite trio of hunting dogs, was eager to get on the beast's trail. Garcia had been hired by a local cattleman named Billy Brown to hunt the creature down and wasted no time in setting out into the mountains. Soon, he found its large tracks winding in and out of the ravines and canyons of the Rincon Mountains. Tracks that showed the same huge size and weight. Tracks that had staggered all who had come across them for the past 13 years. Following a trail that looked to be the freshest, Garcia, his son, and their hunting dogs soon came to a large ridge. Catching the scent of something, the dogs ran forward and out of sight in the approaching darkness. And soon, an incredible roaring followed by the cries of the dogs was heard. In moments, it was over. And arriving on the scene, Garcia and his son found all the dogs dead and scattered about like rag dolls, including one that had its head crushed and was found flung over 20 feet away. Suddenly, they saw a great shape in the darkness bound up and into the large cave that lay at the top of the ridge. Instantly, they ran to the mouth of the cave, but in the darkness that now lay about them, they decided not to enter, as from deep within the cave, the terrific roars and screams of the animal told them it would be pure suicide to do so. Instead, they grabbed loose wood and brush and started a large fire at the mouth of the cave, thereby lighting up the entrance as well as driving smoke into the cave to torment the already enraged beast. For most of the night, they heard it roaring deep within the cave, but as the smoke filled the passages, they heard it start to move toward the entrance, obviously bent on attacking its tormentors and escaping into the night. Quickly, Garcia stationed his son at one side of the opening, while he stood opposite, and as soon as he could see the glowing red eyes of the animal as it came forward, he got ready to fire. But his son, scared by the beast and afraid it was going to kill them both, fired first, hitting the animal in the head and knocking it down. But as the elder Garcia moved forward to see it, the beast regained its feet and leapt at him. Only his quick reflexes from years of hunting saved him, as the heavy rifle bullet slammed into the creature's head and dropped him in an instant. For good. The mysterious beast was finally dead. In the morning, they carried it into town where the amazed residents of Tucson stared at it in stunned disbelief. But what was it? Well, the only known photograph of the beast shows it to be an immense feline. Garcia himself said it was a leopard. Others said it was what they called a North American tiger, although no tigers have existed in North America for at least 12,000 years. But some, who had traveled in the jungles and mountains of Mexico, said it was a jaguar, but easily the biggest one that had ever been seen this far north. It measured 7 feet 9 inches from head to tail, and the head alone was said to be 2 feet and 3 inches in circumference. Its neck was 18 inches around, and its forelegs measured an incredible 19 inches around. It was truly a monster of the species. Now, personally, I think it's a tragedy that such a beautiful creature was killed. But I understand the times and the circumstances. And you have to admit, old Garcia was pretty brave. Now, it might interest you to know that today, thanks to conservation efforts, jaguars are once again being seen in America, down in southern Texas and along the border in Arizona, although so far, nothing the size of the beast, which might be a good thing. I'm ML Behrman. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, ML Behrman here. I'd like to personally invite you to join the channel by subscribing. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help. Thanks.